She was pulling away, acting distant, making you feel like you didn't matter. Then you did one thing, and everything changed. Here's the single action that shifts her entire behavior and makes her see you differently. There's a moment in every relationship where everything shifts, where the dynamic that seemed set in stone suddenly changes, where a woman who was cold becomes warm, where someone who was distant becomes close, where behavior that seemed unchangeable changes. And it all comes down to one action, one decision, one shift in your approach that rewires how she sees you, how she values you, and how she treats you. Today, we're diving deep into female psychology to reveal the one action that has the power to change her behavior completely. This isn't manipulation. This isn't playing games. This is understanding human psychology at its core and using that understanding to create healthy, balanced relationships. Let's start with a fundamental truth about human behavior. People treat you based on how you teach them to treat you. Not through your words, not through your intentions, but through your actions, your boundaries, and what you accept. When a woman's behavior toward you is problematic, when she's distant, disrespectful, taking you for granted, or making you feel unimportant, it's often because you've inadvertently taught her that this behavior is acceptable. You've shown her through your actions that she can treat you this way, and you'll still be there. So what's the one action that changes everything? It's simple, but it's not easy. The action is walking away. But before you think this is just about leaving or giving up, let me explain the psychology behind why this works, when it works, and how to do it in a way that either transforms the relationship or frees you from one that was never serving you. The psychology of value and scarcity. Human beings are wired to value what's scarce and take for granted what's abundant. This isn't conscious. It's not a character flaw. It's basic psychology that governs how we perceive value in everything from material possessions to relationships. When you're always available, always chasing, always trying to fix things, always accommodating her needs while neglecting your own, you become abundant in her life. And what's abundant loses value. Not because she's a bad person, but because her brain is doing what brains do, adapting to what's always there. Walking away or even just creating distance immediately shifts this dynamic. Suddenly, you're no longer abundant. You're scarce. You're no longer a given. You're a possibility that might be lost. And this shift in scarcity fundamentally changes how she perceives your value. But here's the critical part that most people miss. Walking away only works if you mean it. If you walk away as a strategy to manipulate her into chasing you, she'll sense it. If you walk away but keep looking back, checking her social media, hoping she'll reach out, the power of the action is lost. The action that changes her behavior isn't walking away as a tactic. It's walking away as a genuine choice to value yourself more than you value her validation. Why this action works. Let's break down the psychological mechanisms that make this action so powerful. First, it triggers loss aversion. Psychology shows that humans fear loss more than they desire gain. When you walk away, she's no longer thinking about what she might gain from you. She's thinking about what she's losing, and that shift in focus changes everything. Second, it breaks the pattern. In any relationship where her behavior has become problematic, there's a pattern. She does something. You react in a predictable way. She learns that she can continue the behavior without consequences. Walking away breaks this pattern and forces her to recalibrate. Third, it demonstrates self-respect. Nothing is more attractive than someone who values themselves. When you walk away from treatment that doesn't serve you, you demonstrate that you have standards, boundaries, and self-worth. This is inherently attractive and respectable. Fourth, it creates space for reflection. When you're always present, always engaging, always trying to fix things, there's no space for her to miss you or think about what you bring to her life. Walking away creates that space. It gives her room to feel your absence and recognize what she had. Fifth, it shifts the power dynamic. In relationships where her behavior is problematic, there's usually a power imbalance. She has more power because she knows you'll stay regardless of how she treats you. Walking away equalizes this dynamic. It shows that you have the power to choose yourself. When walking away works. This action doesn't work in every situation. It's important to understand when it's effective and when it's not. Walking away works when she's lost attraction because you've been too available, too accommodating, too predictable. When you've made her your entire world and she's become complacent in the relationship. When you've been chasing while she's been running. In these cases, creating distance can reset the dynamic. Walking away works when she's testing your boundaries. Many women, consciously or unconsciously, test men to see if they'll stand up for themselves. They push boundaries, create drama, act disrespectfully. They're looking for a man who will say, "enough," and walk away rather than tolerate poor treatment. Walking away works when you've been giving more than you've been receiving, when the relationship has become one-sided, when your effort isn't matched, when you feel like you're the only one invested. In these cases, walking away forces her to either step up or step out. Walking away works when she's taking you for granted, when she assumes you'll always be there, when she's not appreciating your presence or effort, when she's treating your love like it's guaranteed. Your absence can remind her what she stands to lose. But walking away doesn't work when the relationship is fundamentally unhealthy or toxic. It doesn't work when she's genuinely not interested. It doesn't work when there are deeper issues like addiction, abuse, or incompatibility. In these cases, walking away should be permanent, not a strategy to change her behavior. How to walk away effectively. The way you walk away matters as much as the decision to walk away. Done wrong, it looks like manipulation or weakness. Done right, it's a powerful statement of self-respect. First, make it clean. Don't announce that you're walking away with a dramatic speech. Don't tell her you're doing it to make her miss you or realize your value. Just pull back. Reduce contact. Stop initiating. Stop being available at her convenience. Let your actions speak. Second, mean it. This is the most crucial part. You need to walk away genuinely prepared for it to be permanent. You need to walk away focused on yourself, not focused on getting a reaction from her. If you're constantly checking to see if she's noticed, if you're hoping she'll chase, if you're planning your return, you haven't really walked away. Third, use the distance to work on yourself. This isn't the time to sit around moping or obsessing over her. This is the time to hit the gym, focus on your goals, spend time with friends, pursue hobbies, improve your life. The version of you that walks away should be better than the version that was in the relationship. Fourth, don't respond to breadcrumbs. When you walk away, she might send small messages to check if you're still there. A random text, a like on social media, a vague question. If you respond immediately with full enthusiasm, you've shown that you weren't really gone. You were just waiting for any sign from her. Fifth, set boundaries for if and when she comes back. If she does reach out genuinely, don't just fall back into the old pattern. Make it clear that things need to be different, that you walked away for a reason and that reason needs to be addressed. What happens when you walk away? The immediate aftermath of walking away varies, but there are common patterns in how women respond. Initially, she might not seem to notice or care. This is the hardest part for most men. They walk away expecting an immediate reaction, and when they don't get one, they panic and come back. Don't. This initial period is just her testing to see if you're serious or if you're just having a moment. After some time, usually a few days to a couple weeks depending on the relationship, she starts to notice the absence. The things you used to do that she took for granted are now missing. The attention you gave her is now gone. The stability you provided has disappeared. This is when the shift begins. She might reach out with a casual message, something that seems innocent, but is really checking to see if you're still emotionally available. How you respond to this determines everything. If you jump at the opportunity to engage, you've shown that walking away was just a bluff. If you respond coolly and briefly, or don't respond at all, you maintain the shift in dynamic. As more time passes, one of three things typically happens. First possibility. She genuinely reflects on her behavior and reaches out with real acknowledgement of what went wrong and a genuine desire to make things right. This is the best case scenario. It means your walking away created the space for real growth. Second possibility, She tries to re-engage but doesn't want to address the actual issues. She wants things to go back to normal without doing the work to change. This is a trap. If you go back without real change, you'll end up in the same place you were before. Except now she knows that walking away doesn't really mean anything. Third possibility, she doesn't come back. She moves on. And while this might seem like failure, it's actually valuable information. It tells you that she was never that invested, that the relationship wasn't what you thought it was, and that walking away was the right decision for your long-term happiness. The deeper truth. Here's what most people don't understand about this action. Walking away isn't primarily about changing her behavior. It's about changing your relationship with yourself. When you're in a situation where you need to change someone else's behavior toward you, it means you've lost yourself in the relationship. You've made their validation more important than your self-respect. You've accepted treatment that doesn't align with your worth. You've compromised your boundaries and your standards. Walking away is about reclaiming those things. It's about saying, I value myself too much to accept this treatment. It's about rediscovering that you're complete without her validation. It's about remembering that your worth isn't determined by how someone else treats you. And here's the paradox. When you walk away for this reason, when you genuinely do it for yourself rather than to manipulate her, that's when it becomes most effective at changing her behavior, because she senses the difference. She senses that you're not playing games. You're not trying to manipulate her. You've genuinely chosen yourself. And that choice, that genuine self-prioritization, is incredibly powerful. It demonstrates a level of self-respect and confidence that's deeply attractive. It shows that you're not desperate, not needy, not willing to compromise your peace for anyone. The mistakes people make. Let's talk about how people sabotage this action. The biggest mistake is walking away, but not really walking away. You say you're done, but you keep checking her social media. You stop texting, but you're desperate for her to text you. You create distance, but you make sure she knows you're creating distance. This isn't walking away. This is still seeking her validation, just in a different form. The second mistake is walking away with anger or bitterness. You tell her off. You list everything she did wrong. You make sure she knows you're hurt. This gives away all your power. It shows that she still controls your emotions. Real power is walking away calmly, with your dignity intact, without needing her to know how much she hurt you. The third mistake is walking away, but not using the time to actually improve yourself. You walk away, but you just sit around feeling sorry for yourself. You walk away, but you immediately try to make her jealous by posting thirst traps or being seen with other women. This is still making everything about her instead of about you. The fourth mistake is walking away, but being ready to come back at the first sign of interest from her. She sends one text and you're ready to forget everything that made you leave. This trains her that your boundaries don't mean anything, that she can treat you however she wants and you'll always come back. The fifth mistake is using walking away as a repeated tactic. You walk away, she chases, you come back, things are good for a while, then you walk away again. This creates a toxic cycle where neither person feels secure, and the relationship becomes a series of dramatic exits and returns rather than a stable partnership. When you should never come back, sometimes walking away needs to be permanent. Here are the situations where you should never go back, regardless of how she responds. If she was abusive, physically or emotionally. No amount of apology or promised change erases abuse. Walking away from abuse should always be final. If she cheated. This is personal to every individual, but generally, walking away from infidelity should be permanent. Trust, once broken this way, is nearly impossible to rebuild, and trying usually just extends the pain. If she disrespected you publicly and repeatedly, if she embarrassed you in front of others, belittled you, made fun of you, or treated you as less than, this kind of disrespect reveals core values that don't change easily. If the relationship brings out the worst in both of you, some combinations of people are toxic together, even if they're fine separately. If your relationship was characterized by constant drama, fighting, jealousy, and pain, walking away should be forever. If you walked away and she showed no growth or reflection, if she comes back but hasn't changed anything, hasn't acknowledged anything, just wants things to go back to how they were, this tells you everything you need to know about her capacity for change. if you're happier without her. This is the ultimate test. If the time away has shown you that your life is better, calmer, more fulfilling without her in it, that's all the answer you need. The real power of this action. The real power of walking away isn't in how it changes her behavior. The real power is in how it changes you. When you walk away from treatment that doesn't serve you, you break a pattern of self-abandonment. You stop betraying yourself by accepting less than you deserve. You stop teaching people that your boundaries are negotiable. Walking away teaches you that you can survive without that person, that you're strong enough to be alone, that your happiness isn't dependent on someone else's validation or presence. This is life-changing realization that affects every relationship you have moving forward. It also teaches you about your worth. Every time you stay in a situation where you're not valued, you tell yourself that you're not worthy of better. Every time you walk away from such a situation, you affirm your worth. You say, I deserve respect, appreciation, and genuine love, and I won't accept anything less. This shift in self-perception changes how you show up in all your relationships. You stop being needy and desperate because you know you're fine alone. You stop tolerating poor treatment because you know you have the strength to leave. You stop chasing people who don't value you because you value yourself too much. And ironically, this is what makes you most attractive. People are drawn to those who don't need them but choose them, who could walk away but choose to stay, who have options but select them specifically. That kind of choice, made from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, is the foundation of healthy relationships. Building a better pattern. Once you've walked away and either transformed the relationship or moved on from it, the key is not repeating the patterns that led you there in the first place. In future relationships, set boundaries early. Don't wait until you're so frustrated that walking away is the only option. Address small issues when they're small. Make it clear what you will and won't accept. Match energy and effort. If you're always the one initiating, always the one making plans, always the one trying harder, pull back. Let the other person step up. If they don't, that's valuable information about their level of investment. Maintain your own life. Don't make any relationship your entire world. Keep your friendships, hobbies, goals, and identity separate from the relationship. This ensures you never lose yourself in someone else again. Choose people who choose you. Don't invest in people who are ambivalent about you. Don't try to convince anyone of your worth. Find people who see it immediately and consistently. Be willing to walk away early. Don't wait until you're so invested that leaving feels impossible. If someone shows you who they are early on and it doesn't align with what you want, walk away then. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. The ultimate truth. Here's the ultimate truth about the one action that changes her behavior. It only works if you're prepared for it not to work. If you walk away with the expectation that she'll chase you, realize your value, and beg you to come back, you're still giving her power over your emotional state. You're still making her validation the goal. But if you walk away genuinely prepared to move on, genuinely focused on your own growth and happiness, genuinely okay with never hearing from her again, that's when the action has real power. That's when it's not manipulation, but authentic self-respect. And whether she comes back or not, you win. Because you've chosen yourself. You've set a standard for how you deserve to be treated. You've demonstrated that your peace is more important than any relationship. You've become the kind of person who doesn't tolerate being diminished, dismissed, or disrespected. That person, the one who walks away from what doesn't serve them, is the person who eventually attracts and maintains healthy, fulfilling relationships. Not because they've mastered some strategy or technique, but because they've mastered themselves. So the one action that changes her behavior is walking away. But the deeper truth is that it changes your behavior first. It changes how you see yourself, how you value yourself, and what you're willing to accept. And that change is what ultimately transforms all your relationships, not just the one you walked away from. Use this action wisely. Use it authentically. Use it as a statement of self-respect rather than a manipulation tactic. And watch how it not only changes how others treat you, but how you treat yourself. That's where the real transformation happens.